Welcome to iOS Tips and Tricks course. My name is Andy. In this lecture, we're going to create a contact list type app where you can initiate a phone call or sending email messages or sending SMS. Let's go to the main storyboard. So the first view is a table view controller and it has the list of my contacts. And then when user tap on the contact, it will display the contact detail with the mobile phone information and the email information. And then when user tap one of the icon, it will initiate either an SMS, a phone call, or an email messages. Each of these buttons already connected to an action. So let's open the connection inspector. Like the SMS icon has an action called SMS action. And the phone has the phone action. And the email has email action. And if we go to the contact info view controller, so each of the action that we set on the main storyboard already has a corresponding IB action. Like this is for the SMS, for the phone, and for the email. Now let's take a look real quick at our table view controller. Right now we have a contacts. I put a couple of contacts. The first name is John Garland with the cell phone and the email, and Bob Dylan with the cell phone and the email. And this is pretty straightforward table view implementation. So we got one section, and then the number of rows is the contacts.count. And then on the cell, we display the contact name. And when user tap the contact, we're going to set the selected contact equal to the contact that being tapped. And then we're going to perform the segue. And on the segue, we have a destination to the contact info view controller. And we're going to assign the current contact to the selected contact in contact info controller. And then on the contact info view controller, the selected contact is the one that we receive from the table view controller. And then we're going to assign the name, the cell phone, and the email to each of the corresponding label. So now let's start enabling the SMS, phone, and the email. First, we need to import the message UI. And then for the email and phone, we need to implement a delegate, which is going to be mf message compose view controller delegate. And then as soon as we add this, Xcode will complain because we do not conform yet to the protocol. So let's do that. Let's work on the SMS action first. We need to get the phone number, so let's capture that phone number. So this will come from selected contact, and we get the cell phone. And then we need to check whether the phone capable of sending an SMS or not. And we need to unwrap this. So I'm going to use an if condition. So if mf message compose view controller dot can send text, then let message controller, so we need to initialize our controller, mf message compose view controller. Then we can start assigning the recipients and the message compose delegate. So it's going to be message controller dot recipients equal, and this is going to be the phone number that we just get earlier. Phone number. Now we need to delegate. So message compose delegate equals self. And then we need to present this. So self dot present view controller. And then we're going to pass in the message controller and animated equal true and completion just nil. And I need to also unwrap the selected contact. And now we need to add one more function to conform with the protocol. So I'm going to add this below the phone action. So we're going to create function message compose view controller. And on this one, we're just simply calling the controller dot dismiss view controller equal true and completion is nil. So now let's test this real quick. And in order to test the SMS, phone, and email, you will need to test this in a real device. It will not work in the simulator. So you need to select a real device, and then let's build and run this. And let me bring my real device to the screen. So we got John, Garland, and Bob Dylan. So I'm going to tap the contact on my screen, like Bob Dylan. And then we got the contact name, the mobile information, and the email. And I'm going to tap on the SMS icon. And now we can start sending the messages. So it's going to type in just like a regular device. Then I just tap cancel, just in case that's a real number. So now let's work on the phone and on the email. So back to our contact info on the phone action. So let's capture the phone URL. Let phone URL equal, this is going to be NS URL, and it's a string. And on this string, we're going to pass in a keyword, tell from, and then colon forward forward. Now we pass in our selected contact and the cell phone. And we need to unwrap this for the NS URL. And after that, we can simply call the UI application dot shared application dot open URL and pass in our phone URL. Right, so the last thing, let's continue working on the email action. And for the email action, we need to extend another controller delegate. So let's add that delegate. And it's going to be mf mail compose view controller delegate. And now let's update our email action. So first we need to get the email address for the contact. So let email equal selected contact email. And similar to the SMS, we need to check whether the phone is capable of sending email. So we need to create a condition. So if mf mail compose view controller dot can send mail, then we're going to set the controller equal mf mail compose view controller. Then we're going to set the recipient set to recipients, and we're going to pass in. So this is in the form of array of string. So we're going to pass in our email. Then we're going to set the mail compose delegate equals self, and then present this. Self present view controller, message controller, animated equal true, and completion is nil. And then we need to add one more function to allow user to dismiss the email screen. So we're going to call function mail compose controller. Then we're going to call controller dismiss view controller, and then animated true, completion nil. So now let's build and run our project. So again, we need to test this on a real device. So let's run it. So we get the list, John Garland and Bob Dylan. So I'm going to tap on Bob Dylan. And we're going to test the SMS again to make sure everything's still okay. So I'm going to tap the SMS, and it's still working. We can still type it. And I'm not going to send it just in case this is a real phone number. Then click cancel. And now let's test the phone. And we get prompted whether we want to proceed with the call or not. And I'm just going to press call and cancel right away. So it works for the phone. It's making the phone call. And now the last thing, we need to test the email. And it works as well. You can assign to whom you want to send the email. Fill in the subject. And as soon as you fill in the subject, the send button becomes active. And then you can type in your message. And I'm not going to send this, so I'm just going to cancel this. And then delete draft. So that's how we can incorporate the SMS, phone, and email feature in our application.